It's a cold, blustery night in Mendocino County, California, but David Holthouse is keeping warm at a local bar. For the last few hours, David has been trying to get the man across from him comfortable enough to start talking about the history of homicides in the Emerald Triangle. But so far, no dice. This guy is like a locked box. He won't give his name. He won't agree to being recorded. Though David knows that there's nothing unusual about this, because lots of guys in this industry are well aware that the work they're in, it's a sensitive line of work, and people don't always want to have their identity shared with the world.
Sure.
But something about this guy feels different, and David can't help but shake the feeling that he knows something. This guy knows something big. The night wears on, and slowly the crowd at the bar starts to thin out. After a while, David and this man are the only two people left in the whole place. And that's when everything changes. With no one else to hear them, the man turns to David with a very different expression on his face. "So," he says to David, "I hear you're looking into the 3 Mexican guys, redacted, greased back in 93.
So that means he's basically, this is like, it's so clear that everyone around here knows that a murder did happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so the question is hitting David like a ton of bricks, because not only did this anonymous informant basically confirm that there were 3 homicides, but that he knew the person who committed the crime.
Yeah, because in the interview, he like fully says the name, but they bleep it out.
They bleep it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also so wild because it's like, David was clearly just trying to warm this guy up and like liquor him up. And the guy is the one that is coming and being like, you're looking into these murders of these people committed by this person. Like, he just immediately offers up all the information.
Which also makes me think that everyone in town is talking about it. Like, they're whispering about the fact
They
that
know why he's
David
there.
is doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. So once this guy starts talking, he does not stop. And he tells David that he thinks he knows who the killer is, tells the killer's name, that this man was someone you did not ever want to cross paths with. And maybe this was the reason that David decided not to reveal the name in the docuseries. But for the sake of this episode, we have decided to name this guy Scotty. So Scotty doesn't know that Sabrina and me talk about him on our podcast.
So you are a singer. Performer. So the informant talks about Scotty as if everyone in the industry knows him, and as if it is widely known in this area that he committed this crime.
Mm-hmm.
The informant also explained that Scotty was a high-level cannabis grower who was known to hang out with tough guys, most notably the Hells Angels, the notoriously violent biker gang. I think everyone knows about them. And most importantly, that Scotty is not someone to mess with, which indicates very clearly why so many people have been hesitant to talk to David about this throughout this process.
And I feel like if anyone's like, why is David doing this? We have to remember that his career in investigative journalism was looking into
he's done so many dangerous things.
Yeah, like his whole career has been dangerous. He's constantly seeking out these really scary interviews and trying to search for the truth. So this extends to this case as well. And this is the best lead that he's gotten so far.
Right.
And he was sure as heck going to follow it. So David starts asking around to see if anyone else can tell him any more about Scotty, but nobody's talking. You hear Scotty's name, you know to shut up.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long for David to see why. Because research on Scotty pulled up a very suspicious rap sheet. It turns out that he had already been questioned for 2 separate homicides in Emerald Triangle over the years, although nothing ever stuck, so he was still just out there.
David manages to get in touch with Scotty, which is, as someone reporting from a safe chair in Salem, Massachusetts, I'd much rather stay here. But anyway, Scotty agrees to do an anonymous interview. But if David was hoping Scotty would confess to the murders, he was surely disappointed. Mm-hmm. Scotty is like, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. And he also then gives David a warning to not stick his head where it doesn't belong. And Spy Rock Road is one of those places that David does not belong and should not investigate.
Yep. So Scotty didn't give David any confessions, but still David is like, I know somehow, I have this feeling that Scotty's involved in this crime.
It almost is a confession to be like, don't look there anymore. Like,
right.
It's a threat.
It is. And it almost is like, I'm sure David was feeling this too, where I'd be like, okay, he was willing to talk and he's willing to be like, don't, stop looking, which makes it seem like he wasn't acting alone, that there were other people, and that maybe he was even the lesser of all the evils.
Maybe.
So David learns Scotty was a top-level grower, but he was not the head of his cannabis farm. And David had a feeling that a homicide like this would be the work of probably not a disgruntled worker. So he starts asking around to see if anyone might confirm his suspicions about what's going on with Scotty or any other people involved in this case.
Right. He thinks that there's more than one person involved. Well, it has to be. If this many people have clues and pieces, but no one's talking about it, that means multiple people are involved.
Right. Like, who placed the orders for these murders? Doesn't seem like Scotty might have acted on it.
We don't know. But within a couple of
Bigfoot.
I think that's what we're realizing, is it wasn't actually a real Bigfoot. So within a couple of days, 2 more anonymous informants agreed to speak to David in private, again, unrecorded interviews. Like, they're willing to help, but no, they don't want it getting back to anyone who they're scared of that they did help. Both of these people tell David that they heard Scotty did in fact murder those 3 people back in 1993 on behalf of a high-ranking cannabis farmer. So, like,
Yeah.
he was the hired help. They didn't know who this high-ranking cannabis farmer was, but both sources seemed to think that the reason for the murder was a retribution of some kind.